So that's where we stopped. Is it visible?
Yes.
So we were discussing about the Poisson random variable, the Poisson distribution. So expectation of x, it was obtained as nu, the parameter of the distribution. That was the expression for the mean square value, nu square plus nu. Therefore, the variance, it will be the mean square value minus square of the mean value, would come out as nu. So expectation is nu, variance is also nu. But remember that the units are not same. Say if the random variable, just as an example, if the random variable has the unit of volt, then the expectation of the random variable will also have the unit volt. But the variance will have a unit of volt square. The standard deviation will have a unit of volt. Remember that. All right. Now have a look at this problem. So it is stated that the probability that an item produced by a certain machine will be defective, that's 0.1. And you have been asked to find out the probability that a sample of 10 items will contain at most one defective item. So you have been also, just 1 minute. It's also stated that you may assume that the quality of successive items, that is statistically independent. Write down this problem. You can solve it but by both binomial distribution, using binomial distribution, as well as by using Poisson distribution. Although from this statement of the problem, it will appear that x is a binomial random variable. That's true. That is true. At most one defective item. What does it mean? There are two possibilities. One is that none of the items is defective. Another is one item is defective. So it will be the sum of two probabilities. One is the probability of no item being defective, and second one is the probability that one item is defective. I am representing the number of defective items by the symbol capital X. Therefore, X is a binomial random variable. And we have to, from the problem statement, we find that we have to obtain here the probability of capital X less than equal to 1. So that is probability of X equal to 0 plus probability of X equal to 1. Probability of X equal to 0 is this one, 10C0 times 0.1 to the power 0, 0.9 to the power 10. That is probability of X equal to 0. Second term represents the probability of X equal to 1. All right. If you add these two, you will get the result as 0.7361.
Yes, it does.
Can you use Poisson distribution here? It will be e to the power minus 1 times 1 to the power 0 by 0 factorial plus e to the power minus 1, this 1 divided by 1 factorial. That means 2 times e to the power minus 1 comes out as 0.7358. So what is new here in this case? What is new? Try to think about this case. Why have I considered e to the power minus 1 times, this is the probability for having 0 defective items, 0 number of defective items, and that is for 1 number of defective items. That was the expression. All right. That was the expression for the, sorry, this was the expression for that Poisson distribution. Probability of x equal to I. Just 1 minute. Yes. This is the expression for probability of x equal to I. All right. So here nu has been considered as, what's the value of nu that has been considered here?
1, sir.
1. Why is it 1?
So 0.1 into 10.
Right. 0.1 into 10. N into P. You understand?
Yes.
When I have pointed out the equivalence of binomial and Poisson distribution, nu is equal to N into P according to that equivalence. So this is, you can also compute it in this way. Just observe the very small difference between the two results. It is in the third place of decimal. Now we will move on to joint distributions of random variables. So you have got some idea about joint probability, conditional probability, etc. Therefore, we can move on to joint distributions. Joint probability mass function, joint cumulative distribution function, joint probability density function, etc. Joint probability distributions. In many, we are interested in the joint distribution because in many cases, the outcome of an experiment, random experiment, it can be represented by two random variables, two sets of random outcomes. As for example, very simple example of hitting a target that has been considered here. It can be hitting the target using a gun, so hitting the target with a bullet. It can be hitting the target with an arrow or a dart throw, anything else. Now, this hit position, the position where the bullet or the arrow or the dart hits the target, I mean hits this plane where the target is there, that position, hit position, it can be described by two spatial coordinates, two coordinates in space, say x and y. Because this hit position is random, you cannot predict with certainty what will be the hit position. Therefore, this x and y, they take on random variables, they take on random values. So x and y, they will represent two random variables, two discrete random variables to be more precise. All right, write down, I'll proceed then. Thus, involving x and y, we can have the joint probability. Joint probability means there will be joint probability distributions. So what will be this joint probability distributions be representing? Say, if it is a discrete, two discrete random variables, as in this case, we can have the joint probability mass function. It will be the joint probability of capital X taking on a value small x I and capital Y taking on a value small y I jointly. So now if you assign different values to xi and small I, you will get the joint probability mass function. So this is the joint probability mass function. The comma stands for ANDing, AND operation, xi and yj. Cumulative distribution function, joint cumulative distribution function, capital F xy, it is the probability of having capital X less than equal to small x and capital Y less than equal to small y simultaneously. Therefore, for these discrete random variables, pair of discrete random variables, how will you obtain this joint cumulative distribution function? A double summation. summation for x, it should extend from xi equal to minus infinity to x. All right, that value, because we want that capital X less than equal to small x. And for y, it will be yj equal to minus infinity to y. So probability of x equal to xi and y equal to yj summated over xi equal to minus infinity to x and yj equal to minus infinity to y. That will give you the joint cumulative distribution function for this pair of discrete random variables. Obviously, for the continuous, if the random variables are continuous, you will have the joint cumulative distribution function as well as the joint cumulative probability density function, joint probability density function for the continuous random variables. I've written it.
Yes, sir.
Just 1 minute. I am saving this file. Because this joint probability mass function, it is a probability value. Therefore, it will take on non-negative values only. And this probability mass function, if you find out the double sum for all possible values that capital X can take on and capital Y can take on. That means if I assume that it can take on any value from any discrete value from minus infinity to plus infinity, and this one also from minus infinity to plus infinity, then this summation, obviously, it should lead to a value of 1. Cumulative distribution function, probably I have already stated. So this is a mere repetition. Need not write it once more. How will you obtain from the joint distribution function? How will you obtain the marginal distribution functions? I hope you understand the meaning of marginal distribution functions. Wxy is the joint probability mass function. In this connection, the nomenclature is like this, that the probability mass function of the random variable x, simply x, that is called a marginal probability mass function. Similarly, probability mass function of y, simply y, that is also called a marginal probability mass function. Wx for any given value of x, Wx, the marginal probability mass function, it will be equal to Wxy summated over all possible values of small y. All right. Similarly, Wy, it will be Wxi, xy summated over all possible values that small x can take on. So for every value of y, if you evaluate this summation, you will get Wy. That's why I have written for each possible y. Consider y equal to y1, find out this sum, it will be Wy1. Consider y equal to y2, evaluate this sum, it will be Wy2, like that. Now move on to the continuous random variables. Let's suppose that capital X can take on a continuum of values. That means all possible values in the range x equal to minus infinity to x equal to plus infinity. And capital Y can take on a continuum of values in the range small y equal to এখানে minus infinity হবে, sorry sir. Capital Y can take on a continuum of values from small y equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Consider the event capital X less than equal to small x as event A and capital Y less than equal to small y as event B. Now you have to find out the joint probability of A and B, occurrence of the two events simultaneously. So probability of A and B is this probability. Probability of X being less than equal to small x and probability of Y less than equal to small y. So this is represented as capital F with argument small x comma small y. So this is called the joint probability distribution function. Or you can write it as joint cumulative distribution function. Here I have just enlisted some properties of the joint cumulative distribution function. Fxy being a probability value, it cannot exceed 1 and it cannot take on negative values. That's why fxy will be greater than equal to 0, less than equal to 1. For x greater than minus infinity, less than plus infinity, like that. If xy for x equal to minus infinity, all right, that will be equal to 0. And if xy with y equal to minus infinity, that will be equal to 0. Similarly, if xy with x equal to minus infinity, y equal to minus infinity, that obviously will also be 0. If xy for x equal to plus infinity and y equal to plus infinity, that is 1. All right. Fxy is a non-decreasing function as either x or y or both increase. That was the joint cumulative distribution function. Joint probability density function will be what I have written down here. Small f xy is the derivative of capital F xy with respect to x and also with respect to y. So small f xy, for identical reasons, small f xy will be greater than equal to 0. Right. If you integrate small f xy from double integral over x equal to minus infinity to plus infinity and y equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, then the result of this integration will be 1. Recall that in case of the marginal density function, say small fx, integral of small fx from x equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, that also was 1. That means the area under that marginal density function, that is 1. But here, this double integral is equal to 1 implies that the volume beneath any joint probability density function, it must be unity. Because this joint density function or joint cumulative distribution function, whatever it may be, they are 3D figures. All right. The two axes are x and y, and the third axis, what is that? Either small f xy or capital F xy. So it's a 3D figure. So for 2D figure, what was this area for the 2D figure is now the volume for the 3D figure. From a knowledge of the joint probability density function, how will you obtain the expression for the joint cumulative distribution function? This is the expression. U and V, these are dummy variables and they don't appear in the final result. So with respect to considering U as the variable of integration, you integrate it over U equal to minus infinity to X. Then whatever you obtain, that considering then V as the variable of integration, that is again integrated for V equal to minus infinity to Y. So that will yield the joint cumulative distribution function. How will you obtain the marginal density functions from the joint density function? Say you want to obtain small f x from small f xy. What would you do? Hmm? From small f xy, to get small f x, you have to eliminate y. How can you eliminate y? Just integrate small f xy, considering y as the variable of integration and y varying from minus infinity to plus infinity. So that will give you small f x. In an identical manner, you can obtain small f y. So this is how you can obtain small f x, and this is the expression for the marginal density function small f y. Sorry.
স্যার একবার লাস্টে যেতে পারবে, মানে লাস্ট টেবিলের 4-এ যেতে পারবে, একটু একটু আরো উপরে?
কোথায়?
আমি কি বলে ওই প্রবলেম কি বলে যে চারটে পয়েন্ট ছিল অ্যাবাউট fxy ওই পার্টটায়। হ্যাঁ এটা জাস্ট নিচে, হ্যাঁ এখানে স্যার জাস্ট একটু আরো নিচে হলে। হুম।
বলো। হয়েছে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার হয়েছে, যে এই পয়েন্ট গুলো লিখে নিয়ে, এটা লেখা হয়নি। হ্যাঁ স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ।
So these are the expression for the marginal density functions.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Probability of capital X lying in the range x1 to x2 and at the same time capital Y lying in the range y1 to y2. Then what you have to do? The joint density function, first you can consider any one of the two as the variable of integration. Say let's consider y as the variable of integration first. So then with y as the variable of integration, fxy is integrated with y varying over y1 to y2. So in that way you get a function. Then that function with x as the variable of integration and x sweeping over x1 to x2, you integrate that function. So that will yield you this probability value. হয়েছে এগুলো?
Done, sir.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ওকে,
একবার সেকেন্ড পয়েন্টে যেতে পারবেন, ওই লেখাটা হয়নি। হ্যাঁ স্যার, সেখানে।
হয়েছে? So
একটু
this
আরো
is
বাকি ছিল,
কোনটা?
সেকেন্ড পয়েন্টে। হ্যাঁ স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Write down third and fourth.
এটা লেখা সবার হয়ে গেছে, জাস্ট ওটাই একটু বাকি।
ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে, এটা হয়ে গেছে।
হ্যাঁ, এটা হয়ে গেছে।
Thus, that will be the expression for the marginal cumulative distribution function, and this one for the marginal cumulative distribution function of y. Considering u as a dummy variable for x, if you integrate it over u equal to minus infinity to x, you will get an expression for involving x and v. So v is a dummy variable representing y. Now you have to just remove y. So you integrate it from v equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. This is just the other the other expression. Just as an example, I am considering a very simple joint probability density function involving a pair of random variables capital X and capital Y. So this density function is constant between x1 and x2 and between y1 and y2. Outside this span, it is 0. So it's a 3D figure. What will be the nature of this 3D figure? What will be the nature?
স্যার একটা জিনিস, ওই fxy এর y2 minus y1 হবে না?
কোনটা?
স্যার
ও।
ওই
just কোথায় y2 minus y1? সরি, হ্যাঁ ঠিকই বলেছো। রাইট। এটা শেপটা কিরকম হবে? হ্যাঁ, আরে it will be in the form of a rectangular slab. For a marginal density function, uniform density function, a constant valued function. It's in the form of a rectangle. So if you just try to find out its 3D version, it will obviously be a rectangular slab, a rectangular parallelepiped. All right. Right hand side is the density function, and left hand side, that is the cumulative distribution function. Can you visualize this solid figure? See, from this edge represented by y1, this is actually, it's rising. So this surface, that edge is in the form of a parabola, but the entire surface is not parallel to the xy plane. It is raised. Just see here, it's raised. So after it has reached this value, then it's remains constant there. I have given one example where such joint density functions may appear. This is in connection with the manufacture of rectangular semiconductor substrates. Because it's a rectangular substrate, it has two dimensions. So these two dimensions, dimensions of the rectangular substrate, they are two random variables, and they are uniformly distributed between certain limits. Such uniform distribution, whether it is a 1D uniform distribution or 2D uniform distribution, it is usually obtained where the random variable or random variables, there is no reason why in case of a 1D uniform distribution, the one value of the random variable can dominate over the other, where you cannot find in any logic why one value of the random variable can dominate over the other. In such cases, the distribution is uniform. Similarly, the 2D case, both for x and y, there is no reason why, if you find that there is no reason why one of the values of the random variable for each x and y can dominate on the others, will have more probability of occurrence than the others, then you have this uniform distribution. Next, let's consider that you have a certain real function of x and y that is represented by phi xy, and we introduce the symbol capital Z to represent this new random variable, which is a function of both x and y. Therefore, for this new random variable, you can have its own density function, cumulative distribution function, etc. But there is a special reason why I am introducing this new random variable Z, almost similar to the case of the 1D distribution, 1D random variables, where we considered that y represents a certain function of x, the random variable x. Similarly here, Z represents a certain real valued function of capital X and capital Y. And let's assume that if capital X lying in the range small x to small x plus dx and capital Y lies in the range small y to small y plus dy, then capital Z lies in the range small z to small z plus dz. Then the probability of capital Z lying in that range will be the joint probability of capital X lying in that range x to x plus dx and capital Y lying in the range y to y plus dy. Now this probability, because we are considering an infinitesimal increase in the value of z, therefore this probability of z lying in the range z to z plus dz, that can be written as fz dz. And this will be fxy dx dy. I have also written down the expression for the expectation of this new random variable. Expectation of this, that should not be small z. I should correct it. This should not be small z. Expectation of capital Z. So that will simply be small z into small fz integrated over z equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So that in this case, it will be the double integral of the product of phi xy with fxy. Now consider particular functions of x and y. Make it capital X and this one capital Y. say z is equal to, yes, z is equal to x to the power j times y to the power l, where j and l, they can take on any positive integer value. So this is actually a 2D moment of x and y, involving x and y. This is called the joint moment of x and y. Now consider some combination of j and l. We are particularly interested in the case for j equal to l equal to 1. When you have j equal to 1 and l equal to 1, that means z is equal to xy. Then what is this expectation known as? Expectation of z, it will be the expectation of the product of x and y. What is this expectation known as? There is a special name. Do you have any idea? When j is equal to 1 and l is equal to 1, z is x into y, and expectation of z is equal to expectation of product of x and y, that is known as the correlation of the random variables x and y. The correlation of random variables x and y. So it's usually represented by this symbol r with subscript xy. So that is the expression for the correlation of x and y. Also known as covariance moment. In some of the textbooks, you will find that what I am referring to as the correlation is also called covariance. They call it covariance. But truly speaking, the Rxy shouldn't be called the covariance. It can be called the covariance moment or simply correlation. We will represent something else by the term covariance. It will be closely associated with correlation, but not correlation. Have you written it?
Yes, sir.
দেখো,
লেখা হয়ে গেছে।
expectation of x, you can write it, this is the basic expression. Integration of x into fx over minus infinity to plus infinity. All right. Instead of x into fx, you can replace fx by this integral. Integration over minus infinity to plus infinity fxy dy. So replacing fx by that integral, you can write this expression. Expectation of y, similarly, instead of small fy, you can use this integral. Integration over x equal to minus infinity to plus infinity fxy dx. In case of jointly random variables, or in case of joint probability, forget about random variables. You know what is meant by joint probability. I have touched upon the term statistically independent and knew what does it mean. So if I assume that here x and y, they are statistically independent. Statistically independent, I have just again repeated what is meant by statistically independent random variables. And it means that if the occurrence of any outcome capital X less than equal to small x does not have any effect on the occurrence of any outcome small y less than capital Y less than equal to small y and vice versa, then we say that capital X and capital Y, they are statistically independent. All right. Then what is the condition for statistical independence? What will be the effect of the statistical independence of two random variables x and y on their joint probability density function? Or in case of the discrete random variable, on the joint probability mass function. Do you remember that in the introductory part, I pointed out that the joint probability of occurrence of two events, A and B, there, if these two events, occurrence of A and occurrence of B, they are statistically independent, then the joint probability of occurrence of A and B, that will be the product of the probability of occurrence of A and product of the and probability of occurrence of B. So probability of A into B will be equal to probability of A into probability of B. I have already stated that in the introductory lecture. So this is probability of x less than equal to x, capital Y less than equal to small y. In an alternative form, I can write it in that way, this joint probability. Because capital X less than equal to small x and capital Y less than equal to small y, they are statistically independent. Therefore, this joint probability of these two events will be equal to the marginal probabilities. Probability of x less than equal to small x into probability of y less than equal to small y. That means this probability will be equal to probability of x less than equal to small x into probability of y less than equal to small y. Same thing here. What does the left hand side of this expression denote? It's the capital F. It represents capital F with arguments small x and small y, the left hand side. What does the right hand side represent? It represents the first one of this product, probability of x less than equal to small x. It is capital Fx, and the second one is capital Fy. So this is the condition that should be satisfied for x and y to be statistically independent. You understand? Now move on to further observations. The left hand side of this, have a look at this expression. The left hand side, fxy. This is the expression. If you want to obtain capital F xy from small f xy, you have to use this expression. I've already gone through that. So that represents the left hand side. And right hand side, capital Fx, is this one, the first integral of this product. And capital Fy is the second integral. So what does it represent? That is there for the discrete random variable. So what's the implication? The left hand side has to be equal to the right hand side. Obviously, if x, small f xy should be equal to small f x into small fy. That is the implication of this equation. Similarly, for the discrete random variable, wxy should be equal to wx into wy for statistical independence of x and y. Write down this part. I have probably proved this assertion in the introductory part, that introductory lecture. Proved this assertion that the joint probability should be equal to probability of x less than probability, the joint probability should be equal to the product of the individual probabilities. So this is the necessary and sufficient condition. It can also be written in another form, that small f xy will be equal to small f x into small fy.
Yes, sir. Done. Sir, last equation টা লেখা হয়নি। Done.
Will it have any effect on the correlation of the two random variables? That's what we want to find out next. Hmm. Now, the correlation of those two random variables x and y, this is the expression, isn't it? Now we are considering the case when x and y are statistically independent. That means for our case, fxy, it can be written as fx into fy. So if you just rearrange these terms, it will be the product of two integrals, xfx and integral of xfx and the integral of yfy. So what does that first integral represent? It is the expectation of x. Second one represents the expectation of y. So the correlation of x and y will be equal to expectation of x into expectation of y. When that is the case, we say that the random variables x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated. So statistical independence means fxy will be fx into fy, and statistically uncorrelated means the correlation of x and y. That means the expectation of the product of x and y. It will be equal to the product of the expectations of x and y. Do you understand? Don't think that if two random variables are statistically uncorrelated, the correlation will be zero. It's not like that. What will be zero will come to that. But when we say that two random variables x and y are statistically uncorrelated, it means that the correlation of the two random variables is the product of their expectations. It means that if two random variables x and y, they are statistically independent, they are also statistically uncorrelated. That has been proved here. But the converse is not true. I'll cite examples. If you find first that two random variables, they are statistically uncorrelated, you cannot say with certainty that they will also be statistically independent. There are cases where you find that x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated, but they are not statistically independent. If the correlation is 0, then we say that x and y, they are orthogonal. Have a look at the centered random variables, x minus mu x and y minus mu y. The correlation of these two centered random variables, it is called the covariance of x and y. So that is the difference between correlation and covariance. Correlation is simply the expectation of the product of x and y, and covariance is the expectation of the product of x minus mu x and y minus mu y. How is the covariance related to the correlation? What type of expression can be there relating the covariance of two random variables with their correlation? And what is the impact of the statistical independence on the covariance of two random variables? Or rather, what is the effect of the two random variables being statistically uncorrelated on the covariance of the random variables? First, tell me what's the relation between covariance and correlation? From a knowledge of the correlation, can you get the value of the, can you get the covariance of the two random variables? What other information is required? Very simple relation. Deriving the relation is also very quite simple. This is the covariance of xy. This is how it's represented. Cxy. So Cxy is the expectation of this product. I have written down the expression for continuous random variables. If you multiply these two, x minus mu x and y minus mu y, what will you get? There will be a term x into y. There will be a term which is the product of mu x and mu y. And there will be the product of mu x and y and a product of mu y with x. Therefore, if you take the expectation of all these four terms, you will get this expression Cxy. Expectation of xy minus mu x into expectation of y minus mu y into expectation of x plus mu x mu y. Expectation of y means mu y. Expectation of x means mu x. So these two terms will result in minus twice mu x mu y. So that minus twice mu x into mu y and plus mu x into mu y will result in a term simply mu x into mu y, minus mu x into mu y. All right. So that is the expression for the covariance. Relation between covariance and correlation. If x and y are statistically uncorrelated, then in this expression just write instead of expectation of xy, write expectation of x into expectation of y. Expectation of x is mu x, and expectation of y is mu y. So mu x into mu y minus mu x into mu y, that will be 0. So when two random variables x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated, their covariance is 0. But the correlation is not 0. Correlation will be simply be the product of the expectations. We also have a look at what is known as the correlation coefficient. It is defined in this way. It is a dimensionless quantity, remember. What's the range over which it will lie? It's written as rho or rho xy. This will be the range of value, rho equal to -1 to +1. If x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated, then obviously the numerator will be 0. So the correlation coefficient also will be 0. I have replaced rho with rho xy. All right. Here also rho xy. It was not really necessary anyway. Okay, let's stop here today.
একটু উপরে স্ক্রল করবেন
হ্যাঁ।
এই কোভ্যারিয়েন্স এর ডেরিভেশন।
এইটা
ইয়েস স্যার, ইয়েস। Yes, sir. Done.
এফডি হলে বলো, লকডাউন লগ আউট করবো।
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay, so I am logging out.
Answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.